I also DJ under Achilles World, so for the baddies that need a daddy, who to hit up.
Belanda menjadi tujuan studi ratusan mahasiswa Indonesia setiap tahunnya. Setelah hampir 1 abad, mimpi mereka tetap sama. Belajar lalu pulang dengan ilmu yang menambah peluang. This is Wasstraat Weekend. 100 tahun yang lalu, Wasstraat adalah tempat para pelajar Indonesia berkumpul. Nama seperti Bung Hatta, Agus Salim, dan Subarjo pernah menginjak tanah ini. Sekarang, giliran kami. Sebulan sekali kami berkumpul untuk menyiarkan pendapat kami tentang masalah di rumah.
Halo, nama gue Amanda Citra, musisi yang kebetulan sedang menempuh studi di Belanda. Kali ini, gue menemui teman-teman di Groningen yang menamai perkumpulan mereka sebagai Raya Recordings. Mereka bercerita bagaimana mereka menyajikan dan menikmati musik secara utuh.
So this is our conversation, brought to you by PPI Belanda.
And supported by Transfest, cara paling mudah dan aman untuk mengirim uang ke mancanegara. Halo semuanya, balik lagi di Wasstraat Weekend episode 4 bareng aku Amanda Citra, aka Mancit. Dan di sini aku bakal bahas soal musik in general dan musik komunitas juga, komunitas musik yang ada di Belanda. Dan pertama-tama aku mau memperkenalkan diri dulu. Nama aku Amanda Citra, yang tadi aku udah bilang. Aku seorang mahasiswi double degree program di Section University, dan aku juga seorang singer-songwriter. Dan di sini aku berangkat dari komunitas musik yang ada di Jogja, namanya itu Suara. Dan dari situ aku juga bisa masuk ke manajemen musik namanya Kita Records yang ada yang berwadah di Jogja juga. Dan menurut aku di sini tuh musik kolektif itu sangat penting buat musisi-musisi, karena di sini kita bisa menyamakan suara dan menyamakan tujuan di musik dan untuk kedepannya. Seperti kayak kalau misalnya mau serius di musik atau mungkin untuk hobi aja juga gitu. Dan di sini aku nggak sendiri, aku ditemani sama 3 musisi keren-keren yang ada di Groningen. Dan mungkin aku mau memperkenalkan dulu ya masing-masingnya. Bisa dikenalin?
My name is Akila Kasatrio, aka Achilles World. I run Raya with some of my friends, Raya Recordings. Brandon's one of them, my other friend Noah and Justus. I also DJ under Achilles World, so for the baddies that need a daddy, who to hit up.
I'm Brandon, aka Slendro. I make music, I produce, I sing, I rap, I take photos and everything, but that's not like really like music related. But yeah, I guess I also run Raya Recordings with Akila, and yeah, I feel like I've been steady in the music scene here for around 3 years since I came here, and yeah, this has been a journey.
Right. And last, I'm Maya. Mostly I'm an economics student. I'm doing my master's now, hopefully graduating this year, but on the side I also like to listen to music, play some music or anything related to music, go to events. And then I'm here because I played for the first episode for Raya Recordings. So I DJ on the side, and then I get to play a set, and they film it and made a nice video out of it with a good friend of mine.
Thank you guys for the introduction. Ya, jadi di sini aku bareng teman-teman musisi yang keren-keren banget ini dari Groningen. Kita bakal ngomongin juga soal yang udah tadi Akila bilang, soal Raya Recordings, yang benar-benar aku penasaran banget juga nih, karena menurut aku kita ini ada kemiripannya di musik kolektif atau komunitas musik, yang dimana di sini namanya Raya Recordings. Bisa dijelasin nggak nih teman-teman, Raya Recordings tuh mungkin kayak gimana sih?
Yeah, should I go? Alright, so Raya Recordings came about I think late last year when I had the idea for the first time. Like around December, I was like ODing on my thesis. I was super depressed. Not super depressed. I was just overworked. I think I spent like I don't need to go into details as to like what I was doing. but I was just like overdosing on work, you know. And then the only thing I can really think about is like, oh, I really want to be DJing right now. I hate like this thesis shit. It was super fun to do, but I hated like spending so much time on it. I'd rather be spending like the time actually like doing more fun stuff, you know. And then a friend of mine told me about experience he had about DJing. He told me that he was playing for this collective here and they asked him to play certain BPM, a certain genre, and I didn't like that at all because I think that I respect a creative or like an individual enough for them to play whatever they want to do, you know. And for somebody to kind of tell you what genre, what BPM to do, to play, takes away as who you are as a creative, as an individual. So that kind of started with this whole entire idea that, okay, I want to create this space or this like digital platform to allow music, DJs to like kind of give them the space to actually showcase their music, you know, and seeking to actually provide or give a platform towards up and coming amateur, semi-professional DJs, very professional DJs, the space to actually showcase their music, you know. And we're seeking always for eclectic sounds. I think we shot like 9 episodes now, and they're all really different sounds, really different genres. Because I wanted, like, even the first date not to be clustered into a specific like genre, you know. And it was interesting because I had a really hard time describing what Riot Recordings was. I don't want to use the word digital platform because it sounded too commercial. I don't want to use like collective because it made just too much of it in-group, out-group. You know, it's not a collective, not a record label too. So a friend of mine told me that that we're a digital podium because we only showcase and highlight different individuals and the music they actually produce, or not produce, but they actually mix, you know, or actually produce too. So yeah, so that kind of came about. Brandon?
Yeah, I'd say like we're a digital podium is first, and then like a video production team second. Because I feel like a lot of our work centers around like video production and providing like an actual like media package for all of the DJs that we do. And so it's very much like reminiscent of like Boiler Room, like the actual set, with more angles, and like we really wanted to emphasize like shooting the DJs in their own creative space, so like their rooms, their homes, their studios, wherever. So it's a lot more intimate experience rather than like doing it at a club or like at a certain like location, and that keeps repeating at the same time. Because like, we wanted to really like give a window into the DJ's like creative environment, like really like show like their identity through where they mix, like the stuff that they mix, like everything is like kind of centered around like their own creative environment. Yeah, I don't know what else we could.
That was it. Miles, from an external party.
Yeah, like what's right to you?
Yeah, so like I've been DJing since like late 2018, and it's always a side thing for me. And then like it's just it's a big hobby that I spend a lot of time in. So after I study, if I get burned out studying, it's like a nice way to escape in like the music culture, whether it's just through like meeting other people. And then yeah, it's just hard to get like serious on it because there's just a lot of like tasks involved, like for example like marketing or like making a video out of it. And then like it's a bit hard for me that I don't have the expertise to do all those video editing stuff, to make sure that like I have an image that I want to portray like correctly out there. And then but then when your friends are doing it makes it so much easier. And then like I have like complete trust of what they're putting out there, and then it gives me like a platform to showcase the music I like, and then have them also do their passion, which is running the things behind it. And then they're doing a really good job, like exploring different artists.
Wow, so great. But if I might know deeper, kalau untuk each musician atau untuk individunya sendiri dari musisi-musisinya itu, kalian tuh ada kesamaan genre ataukah emang semuanya tuh berbeda gitu? Atau untuk itu?
That's the thing. Like I think when I came into this project with one goal to not like cluster ourselves to or narrow ourselves to a specific genre, you know. Because I think that's quite limiting for a facilitator. We're also a facilitator, we're more like a representative.
I see.
Rather than an actual, like we're not trying to push something, push a certain like sound, you know. I think for us, like the most important thing is that we showcase unique sounds, and most importantly that we showcase sounds that really resonate with each single DJ. You know, I tell the DJs that you can play whatever you want, any BPM, anything you want. It's really up to you.
it's a huge contrast. Like for
Yeah.
example, like if you look at like David's set compared to like Hugo's set, like
Yeah.
it's completely
Yeah.
different vibes. And so like we really try to like have like a wide range of sounds. Like even our YouTube, like the way we presented, it's like sounds too blank too. So it's like we have like a different kind of vibe for every episode, and like we like let the DJ choose kind of what vibe they want to kind of portray
Yeah.
in the episode itself. So I think like our main core is like variety, or like it's like unity and diversity in a way. You know?
Yeah.
Like that's like our whole thing. Like this.
That's the motto.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's most important if you're making like a small music community is for it to be inclusive. So it's not strictly like, oh, we're just like
Yeah.
doing community for like techno.
Yeah.
or
Like oh, it's
something.
only techno DJs here. You know, like if you play other stuff, then it's like yeah.
That's why it's really nice to be a part of something like inclusive and then diverse, so everyone could really like show their personalities
Yeah.
and what they're like genuinely really into,
Yeah.
and then that makes it so much more like
Community.
like, original and
Yeah.
like a genuine community to be part of. So
Yeah, that's the thing. That's the thing. Like from the beginning, I mentioned for Raya. Like I never wanted us to feel like there's a certain group persona with
Yeah.
what we're doing. You know, whether it's the way we approach talking to our like DJs. You know, because all the DJs we actually talk to end up becoming our friends too. You know,
Yeah.
stuff like that. You know, we also include them whenever we have to do events. We also ask them to join us. You know, whenever if I get a booking for something, you know, or a friend of mine tells me about an event, I always go to the DJs who perform for us and ask them if they want to play there instead, you know. And then because like it's also like a platform for us to get closer to the DJs as well as friends, you know. Because like I've played sets, and I've also heard experiences from my friends who played sets in places where you come, you play, and you leave. You don't feel like you're actually a part of what they're doing, you know. And I did not want to have that same approach, you know, because with such a creative field like this, I feel like it's the most important to actually be active and to be, how you say, approachable by the community that's around you, you know, to feel a bit more genuine and less, less fake. It's like exactly the same thing as Miles said as well, you know, to become a lot more, just make it a bit more approachable, you know, something that's a bit more inclusive than like exclusive. Because then, like, I think in the world of like DJing and like electronic music in general, it's a very strong sense of in-group, out-group, you know.
Yeah.
And I really wanted to avoid that because I think that's just kind of corny. I hate it's a push towards it, you know. So yeah, that's it.
I see. And maybe continue to that. Is there any struggle or challenge that you guys face?
I won't say they're a problem per se, because a problem means there's the negative connotation when you say problem, you know. And I don't think there's any problem. There are also
Like roadblocks.
yeah, roadblocks, you know.
Struggles.
Struggles, you know. We're definitely in an early phase where everything feels really exciting to do, you know. I mean, that's why even for me, like when I left this project in the beginning, it's also really important for me to like get everybody really involved, you know.
Yeah.
And I'm really happy to see that everybody has taken on their own roles, you know. Because we talked about our group members before who was a bit like a bit more passive, you know, but now you're becoming a lot more active, you know.
Yeah.
It's really really
Everybody's finding their role.
exactly. So the biggest struggle is that how do we find a good balance between our own personal lives, our work lives, and how do we get everything to make the best quality we can, you know.
That's the biggest struggle. Yeah, like
Yeah.
like dividing time between our other things and this.
Yeah.
Because it's still a side thing.
Yeah.
Like no one has to get paid for it.
Yeah.
So it's like it's really like about organizing like time around everything.
Exactly, you know, but it's also like really hard for me to see that everybody's like really. At the end of the day, this is something like I had a heart-to-heart with the boys a while ago about this, and I asked them like, what success means for you in this whole entire project, you know?
Yeah.
Because I was thinking about it the other day. It's like I read this. I think I watched a YouTube video or something about some philosophy. YouTube video.
Okay.
Where I asked you, and I asked you like, no, it was the way Phil Knight uses Buddhism or some type of Buddhism to coach the Chicago Bulls, you know. And he said one thing that really stood out to me, which is that the only thing you can only create the situation or the circumstances for success and let go of the outcome. You know, then I thought about it really interestingly, you know, because like we were super fixated on what the outcome was, how do we get more views, to a certain extent, you know, how do we get better production value and stuff like that, you know. But then I took a step back and thought about it as to like, okay, what do we define success as? So I sat down with the boys the next day and I asked them like, hey, what do you guys define success as, you know? And I think everybody gave their really good input, you know, and I liked what Brandon said, which meant a lot to me, which is that if we stop doing things today, looking back, I'm so proud of what we achieved, you know. It was a really fun project. And Noah said, another really interesting thing is that he always thought that what we were doing, that we we're only producing these videos for our friends, in a sense where I think I was a bit fixated on creating this really perfect product to ship it to the consumers, you know, to some like quote unquote talking business terms, you know. But Noah said like, oh, I was envisioned this to be shown to our friends, you know, which made things a lot less structured, a lot less like a lot less pressure on my back, you know. Because when you showcase things to your friends, you have a lot more different approach, you know. It's a lot more fun, you know, in that sense.
Yeah.
I guess you're excited to show things rather than you're expecting a return from it. So yeah.
Like I guess like we've also really just focused on producing quality content over gaining engagement. Because I feel like as a creative collective or just like as a Instagram page in general, like you're always focusing on like increasing engagement and like, you know, promoting stuff, getting all these followers and likes and stuff. And like yes, like that's a component, but I feel like at the moment like we really want to keep focusing on like just building a good community and like eventually using that to leverage the engagement.
Exactly. I feel like engagement should be a byproduct rather than the goal.
As you said, like we create the circumstance for success, and it's like instead of like focusing on the goal.
Ngomong-ngomong soal efeknya nih dari komunitas musik ke personal kalian tuh, kalau tadi kan Brandon udah bilang ya benar-benar mempengaruhi kehidupan sosial kamu kan. Bisa diceritain lagi nggak lebih dalam tentang itu juga? Mungkin sama teman-teman yang lainnya juga.
I mean, I guess for me personally, it's like my first 3 years here have been pretty like low key. Like I've been studying game design, so it's not the most social like study to be in, and like like I just kind of had a really like small like tight knit friend group. I was in my room, but then like after joining Raya, like I feel like also like I feel like super extroverted, so I feel like that kind of like rubbed off on me. So like it kind of like forced me to like also like forced me to kind of like like step out and like do things that I would not like usually do, and so like it kind of really helped in like just breaking out of my shell in a way, and like meeting new people that like I would have otherwise never met, and like to me like that's the biggest impact.
How about you? Probably mine.
Yeah, I can relate to you actually. Like for me, unconsciously, from like since I was in high school, unconsciously I was always like involved in music somehow. So I played the drums in high school for like my after school band, and then I went to Christian school, so I had chapel every week, and then there was also a band for that. I was just there because like I was having fun, and then when I moved here, I don't have the drums. It's so hard to like bring the drums or play the drums as an instrument. So I got really focused with my studies, which is good, but then but then I got bored one Christmas staying here, and then I bought like a small DJ controller from Marktplaats, and then that's how I got started into DJing. And then through that small hobby, like I get to know like other people who do the same thing as well, because it's very accessible. You can just download songs in a USB and then like share tracks, and then what are you listening to and what I'm listening to. And then I made a lot of good friends through just the hobby of DJing. So like economics, like game design, like it's a bit different to game design, but it's very like concrete and it's very analytical.
Yeah, I feel like it's very like kind of similar vibe.
You have a lot of coding as well, right? Doing a lot of the computer, so it's more like left brain. More like logical.
Exactly.
But then like I guess to balance it out in the social side, it's easier for me to connect to people through music.
Do you think you're gonna be the first DJ to have a PhD?
Actually, I researched this. So
that's how you know he's a PhD.
There's this one artist from the UK. You guys have to check it out. It's called he's called Floating Points.
Oh la la! Favorite producer, man.
He's a full-on electronic artist. So he plays with all these modular synths. But then he did a PhD in neuroscience.
Wow.
And then, he actually, he got like he made like he organized this thing with PhD supervisor where he could like work like half time with his music and then half time on his PhD, and he completed it.
Are you gonna do that?
Hopefully, so that's like one of my role models. So it's like looking at it, so it's possible. Just balancing with these two worlds.
How about you?
What was the question again? I don't know. It's a good question, man. It's a hard question to answer because I don't think I've ever like thought about it because I kind of live my day like live my life really day to day. I tend to like not plan things. I just see whatever happens and happen on the day itself, you know. So I don't really think about the way like music has impacted my life. So I agree with what Brandon said. Like Raya has helped me, has become a really easy way for me to communicate with different people too. You know, whether it's with different collectives here, different individuals. You know, so it's a new talking point for me to like level with them where they can level with me. You know, so we can talk to each other as actual people as well. Makes it a lot more interesting talking to them as well. You know, in terms of like DJing, it's really true what Miles said as well. Like, I think my creative friends are the ones which I connect with the most as well, you know, because it's obviously about the human interaction as well, but also there's a difference where you guys talk about more than just the nuanced shit, you know. You also talk about creative stuff, and that's when it's almost like a playground where you can like go like one-on-one with your friend, you know, talk about different creative stuff to like really balance it up, you know.
Okay, last but not least, last question. In the future, in general, for the music in general, sama buat komunitas musik juga, apa yang kalian harapin? Mungkin
ayo bisa bahasa Indonesia, ayo Akila.
Oke, jadi kalau kalian yang mikir gue nggak bisa pakai bahasa Indo, sebenarnya gue bisa, gue nggak mau pakai soalnya agak kaku. Okay, you know what? Take that out, bro. Nah, but for the future of the scene, man. It's a really good question. I've been talking to a lot of people actually. I mean, like I don't want to go too big because it's too hard for me to answer the question. Like I talk within our like local Groningen scene, also in the Indonesian scene as well, because it's quite close to like the Groningen scene in terms of like I don't think it's set. There's no set and stone like scene yet, you know. And I talked about this with a lot of different people recently as well. So I'll give you my opinions on the Groningen scene. The Groningen scene is still a bit young. It's weird because we're in a city that's always revolving. There's, at least for the international scene that we're in, you know, because there's also the Dutch scene, but we're not Dutch, so we're not really in the scene. For the international scene, most people have a turnover rate of like 5 years, 4 years, 3 years, you know. So there's no really, you can't really capitalize a community here, you know. And because of that, it's really hard to curate a scene. And on top of that, a lot of the kids who come in here are also quite young, you know. They're usually between 18 to 23 if they first enter here, you know. So they're still figuring themselves out, you know. And they're coming to a new city. They usually don't know anybody, you know. There's no community yet. And usually within the time you develop a community, you're also at the same time leaving the city as well, you know. So it's too late for you to really like really make it somewhere, you know. But my biggest problem in the scene here is that a lot of the collectives here, a lot of the parties here, it feels a bit too in-group, out-group vibes, where it's either you're in or you're out, you know. There's no space that's really open for everybody to come and enjoy themselves, you know. The problem with that is that once you allow everybody to come and enjoy the parties, for example, it's really hard for you to curate a community, because obviously there's going to be a multitude of different people, you know. There's going to be people who are there to really enjoy the music, you know, people who really love the sounds that's being played. There's also people who are there just to like party, take drugs, and drink alcohol, you know. And obviously, the latter is in my opinion worse because they're a lot trashier. And they're just there for like this hedonistic thing. And I want the parties or the scene or like the communities where like kind of like to develop in such a way where it's not just about hedonism, but there's a bigger belief in it as well. You know, I think that really drives the scene as well. You know, because the scene in general is just a collection of individuals that represent the same or similar ideology, you know. And when when these ideologies are so surface level based bullshit, when it's only talking about like, oh, I'm only there to have fun and take drugs, you know, then there's nothing dynamic or nothing interesting in the scene. There's no depth to it, you know. I mean, like, I don't want to say like a lot of names because it's hard for me to talk about this without like saying names, you know. But in general, like, I really want to see like a really strong scene, you know, a really strong scene pushed by community of individuals that know what they like, you know, and are supported by a community as well actually believes in them as well, you know.
Like going back to what you said about like in Indonesia, like people are like acting cool and stuff. I feel like that's a big component as well. Like back in Indonesia, like people will go to places like just to look cool, rather than enjoying the actual like art that's like being showcased there. Like you go to Fable, you go to like whatever, like like crazy clubs, you know.
You don't have to go to clubs. You can even talk about fucking museums.
I mean, yeah, even that, you know. But it's like there's a jaim aspect, you know, where it's like, oh, I don't want to do this because it's gonna make you seem like that. But then I feel like a big like component to like the rave ideology is to just like be free and be yourself. Like just like break free of any fucking like social standards, you know, like it's just like this is who you are. I feel like that's like the biggest kind of thing that we also try to push. Is like to have like a safe space where people can just express themselves as freely as possible without thinking of like, oh, I'm gonna look weird or oh, I'm gonna be judged.
How about you, man?
So we're talking about the hopes and dreams, right?
Yeah.
Goddamn.
I'm like,
Yep, you're right.
I just have like these like just small personal goals, like if you do something like music related as a hobby, so like what I've realized it's like a lifelong journey, because like how I understood like music when I was in middle school or high school is like way different than the way I understand it now.
Yeah.
And then if you produce, for example, like every like year by year you improve a lot, and then your sounds change. So like for me, like I think it's always been a big part of my life. So for example, I didn't get into this earlier, but as a like student studying abroad, like it's hard to get like well acquainted to like the community here in the Netherlands, or just the international community in general. But then like through music, like it's such like a simple way to connect with each other, and then like it's one way for me to get like closer to the international community here as well. Like while I'm here, I need to like think of other worldviews, like know people from other countries. So and then it's such a nice way of doing it through music. So like my hopes is I'm just gonna keep collecting music and like DJing, and then like in the technical aspects of it. So I'm still like mixing in digital. So maybe I get more like authentic and like more original by like mixing with vinyl, for example. And then like DJing is just like collecting a lot of like music references from everywhere, and then like a small goal of mine is to like produce my own sound like whenever I have the idea of it already.
Okay, totally agree with all of the statements that you guys stated here. Dan kalau menurut aku juga musik itu setuju banget sama Mael juga. Dia bilang musik bisa menyatukan semuanya ya, dari yang genre berbeda juga, dari teman-teman yang berbeda juga, dari mungkin teman-teman yang negaranya beda-beda juga bisa bersatu karena musik juga gitu. Jadi it's really nice to having you guys here. Thank you very much udah mau ngobrol-ngobrol di Wasstraat Weekend kali ini, dan aku harap teman-teman juga dapat inspirasi dari sini dan juga termotivasi juga. Dan I'm Amanda Citra, and thank you for watching.